There is a place on this earth where the ground never thaws, where the air itself becomes your enemy the moment you step outside, where, and I need you to really hear this, the average winter temperature is colder than the surface of Mars. This is not a metaphor. This is not an exaggeration. This is Oymyakon, Yakutia, Russia, the coldest permanently inhabited place on the planet. And yet, roughly 500 people live there right now. They wake up every morning. They cook breakfast. They drive to work at negative 71 degrees Celsius. The question is not how do they survive. The question is, why does the human body allow it? Today, we're going inside. Yakutia, officially the Sakha Republic, is the largest region in Russia. In fact, it is so large that if it were its own country, it would be the 8th biggest nation on Earth. But size is not what makes Yakutia extraordinary. Cold makes Yakutia extraordinary. Here's why this particular valley becomes so extreme. Oymyakon sits in a low-lying basin, a bowl carved between mountain ranges. Cold air, which is denser than warm air, sinks. It pools. It collects. Think of it like this. Imagine pouring cold water into a bowl. It doesn't flow out. It sits. That's exactly what happens to freezing air in this valley. The mountains block wind. There is no ocean nearby to moderate the temperature. The sun in winter barely clears the horizon, sometimes giving only 3 hours of daylight per day. Every condition points toward one outcome: lethal cold. In 1924, a Soviet scientist recorded minus 71.2 degrees Celsius here. Some accounts place it even lower. That is the kind of cold where exposed skin freezes in under 2 minutes, where metal becomes brittle and snaps, where diesel fuel turns to gel. And yet, people stayed. People built homes. People had children. This is where our story really begins. Let me walk you through a morning in Oymyakon. It is 6 a.m. Your bedroom is heated, barely. You already know, before you open the curtains, that it is somewhere between minus 50 and minus 60 outside. You do not check your phone. You check the outdoor thermometer nailed to your wall. Before you do anything else, you go outside to start your car. Not because you need to leave soon, because if you don't start it now, it will not start at all. Here's the problem. Engine oil at minus 50 becomes almost as thick as cold honey. It doesn't flow. The engine can't turn over. So drivers in Yakutia do one of 3 things. 1, they never turn the engine off. At all. For months. 2, they build a small fire underneath the engine block to warm it up before starting. 3, they keep the car in a garage that is slightly, barely, impossibly warmer than outside. Metal contracts in extreme cold. Rubber seals crack. Batteries die in minutes. Nims Dai would say, "You don't fight the mountain, you understand it." That's exactly what the people of Yakutia do. They don't fight the cold. They engineer their entire life around it. Now, food. You cannot grow vegetables here. The ground is frozen year-round. This is called permafrost, meaning the soil never thaws, even in summer. Permafrost. Permanently frozen ground that stays below 0 degrees Celsius for at least 2 consecutive years. So what do you eat? Meat. Frozen meat. The Yakuts, the indigenous people of this region, eat reindeer, horse, and fish. Raw, frozen, sliced thin. There's a dish called stroganina, frozen raw fish or meat, shaved into thin curls and eaten immediately. Like sashimi, but at minus 20 in an outdoor market. No refrigerator needed. The entire world is your freezer. Now here is where it gets genuinely fascinating. How does the human body survive this? Because let's be clear, we are not polar bears. We are not seals. We did not evolve in the Arctic. The human body's core temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. Drop it to 35, you start shivering uncontrollably. Drop it to 32, you become confused. Hit 28, your heart can stop. So how do the Yakuts step outside at minus 60 and come back alive? First, vasoconstriction. Vasoconstriction, the narrowing of blood vessels. The moment your body senses extreme cold, it automatically restricts blood flow to your extremities, your fingers, toes, ears, nose. Why? To protect your core organs. Your body is making a brutal calculation. Sacrifice the fingers if you must, but keep the heart and brain warm. In Yakuts who have lived here for generations, this response is faster and more efficient than in people from temperate climates. Their bodies have learned, through both genetics and lifelong conditioning, to trigger vasoconstriction earlier and more aggressively. Second, brown fat activation. Most body fat, the white kind, stores energy. But there's another type, brown fat. Brown fat, a special type of fat tissue that generates heat by burning calories directly. When exposed to extreme cold, brown fat activates like a furnace. Studies show that people adapted to cold environments have significantly more active brown fat than average. Yakuts essentially carry a biological space heater inside their bodies. Third, metabolic upshift. In extreme cold, the body's base metabolic rate increases, meaning you burn more calories just to stay alive. This is why Yakuts eat such high-fat, high-protein diets. It's not culture, it's biology. A Yakut herder in winter may require 4,000 to 5,000 calories per day just to maintain body temperature at rest. And frostbite, how does it actually kill tissue? When blood retreats from your fingers, those cells begin to cool. Ice crystals form inside the cells themselves. Ice crystals forming inside cells tear the cell membrane apart like a water bottle that freezes and cracks. Once cell membranes are destroyed, the tissue is dead. This is frostbite. The terrifying thing, you often feel nothing when it happens. The nerves themselves go numb first. Experienced Yakuts watch each other's faces constantly when working outside, looking for the telltale white patches of skin that their own nervous systems can no longer report. This is community as a survival mechanism. The Yakut people did not accidentally end up here. They chose it, or rather their ancestors survived it over thousands of years. And in doing so, they built one of the most sophisticated cold weather cultures ever to exist on Earth. Their traditional clothing, made from reindeer hide and fox fur, is not simply worn, it is engineered. Multiple layers trap air. Air is one of the best insulators that exists. Insulation means reducing heat transfer, keeping warmth in, cold out. The innermost layer faces inward, fur against skin. The outer layer faces outward, repelling wind. Modern Gore-Tex engineers have studied traditional Yakut clothing construction. The principles are essentially identical to what the Yakuts perfected centuries ago, without labs, without physics degrees, without a single scientific paper. Their architecture follows the same logic. Traditional Yakut homes, balagans, are built low to the ground, with thick earthen walls and small windows. Heat cannot escape upward, wind cannot penetrate. Modern homes in Oymyakon are built on stilts, not for style, but because the heat from the building would melt the permafrost underneath, causing the foundation to sink and collapse. Even burials are a challenge here. The ground is frozen solid year-round. To bury someone, families must thaw the earth using open fires, sometimes burning for days before digging is even possible. Death here is not abstract. Cold is not theoretical, and survival is not something the Yakuts take for granted. It is the organizing principle of their entire civilization. When Nirmal Purja climbed all 14 8,000-meter peaks in 7 months, people asked him, how? He always gave the same answer. The body will quit long before the mind does. The people of Oymyakon didn't summit a mountain. They built a school, a post office, a community, a life. At a temperature that your biology is not designed for, there are no extreme athletes here, no motivational speakers, no survival TV crews on permanent residency. Just people who wake up, start their cars with fire, eat frozen horse meat, watch each other's faces for frostbite, and then do it again the next day. That, in the end, is the most extraordinary thing about Oymyakon. Not the science, not the geography, the fact that ordinary human beings decided this place was home and refused to leave. The coldest recorded temperature ever survived outdoors by a human being, without mechanical assistance, is somewhere around minus 89 degrees Celsius, reached briefly by explorers at Antarctica's Vostok Station. Oymyakon sits just below that absolute threshold of what biology permits. The next time you complain about the cold, and you will, remember this. Somewhere right now, a child is walking to school in Oymyakon at minus 50 degrees on a Tuesday. The universe did not build us for this place. We built ourselves for it. And that might be the most human thing of all.